If you want to grow fast and reclaim some time, stay tuned. I'm going to show you exactly what you need to do as it pertains to your offer. If you don't know, I'm Ryan Ray. I coach business owners on how to reclaim 20 hours a week in their time. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what you need to do. The first thing is consider how many products you're offering. And so this might sound kind of silly, but think about it like this. If you offer roof repair and new tires, right? Those are so completely different that people might get confused. Is this a tire repair shop or is this new roofs? I don't really know what's going on here. So before you have a litany of products, focus in on one. And it doesn't mean that you can't have your roof repair, new roofs, to do for new homes, storm damage or something like that, anything in the roofing space. But it means that oftentimes owners might have something as dramatic as roof repairs and tires, and it's so far removed from each other that owners are confused with what they do. What I do in my business is I have one offer, and that's to help you reclaim 20 hours a week in your business, so you can focus on stuff that moves the needle, or spend more family time, or however you want to use that 20 hours a week. I'm there to give it to you, and I do that in three ways, right? So tier one is a one-on-one call. One-time call is the bottleneck breakout, we call it. One problem, one call, one solution. We're going to fix it on that call. The second is the time back boardroom, which is kind of a coaching cohort that you get. You get that time with myself and other owners to learn how to fix the things that are holding you back. I'm going to show you exactly what you need to do, and then you can hear from other owners as well. The third thing is a more high-ticket one-on-one coaching program. Again, it's geared to help owners reclaim their time. Why is this? Well, from my perspective, that's what's holding so many owners back, right? They're not working on the things to move the needle, or they're making so much money, but they're watching a lot of great, smart people talk about how to scale, how to do stuff, and they don't realize that they should be content with where they're at. And so they're chasing that shiny object, if you will, but they're making maybe $1 million a year or $2 million a year, and they're like, oh man, I get to 4 or 5. It's like, yeah, you could. That's fine if that's your goal. But for most people, once they get there, instead of implementing the tools and techniques that they need to reclaim the time, they're stuck on kind of always chasing, always scaling, always focus on kind of this rapid growth mentality. And so that slows them down to accomplish what they really want to accomplish. So, right, so there it is. It's all around reclaiming your time. Now, here's some stats for you if in your business. Let's talk about why you should offer multiple things first. Let's talk about that. The first reason is if you have, let's say, roofs, then you might want to have a warranty program, or I don't know how insurance for roofing works, if a roofer can sell the insurance for it, but something like that. So kind of warranty program, maybe a maintenance program. Those are things that if they sell, it improves your margin. If they don't sell, you probably don't need a dedicated team to focus on servicing those value adds. Those products on their own will come with your roofing repairs, your new roofs, stuff like that. And so you don't have to have a dedicated department just for those things. And so if we go back to the original analogy of roofs and tires, then it becomes quite evident. You would need someone to sell tires. You would need someone to service tires. You would need someone to take tires off and put them on, and jacks and all that stuff, along with all the stuff you need to run a roofing business. And so now you have these two separate entities basically that are running, instead of saying, okay, our core thing is tires or roofs, and we're going to focus on maximizing that. So we sell roofs, we're the best roofer in the world, and this is what we offer. We offer to put your roof on, to replace your shingles. Maybe you do metal roofs too. It doesn't matter. But unless I say it doesn't matter, I'm not a roofer. Unless that skill set is so far different, it takes a separate unit. So if it does, then it might fall into that. But I'm not a roofer, so I don't know how that looks. But let's just assume, for the sake of this argument, that a shingle roofer and a metal roofer can both do the same thing. So if that's true, then it doesn't necessarily matter that you're just the best roofer. If it does matter, then consider the cost of spinning up a metal roofing division or a shingle roofing division if you do one or the other, on what your time, the staff, the warranties, the repairs, all that's going to cost you if it's vastly different. Going back to my model, right? It's getting time back. So fix your biggest problem, coaching cohort, and one-on-one coaching that's more of a high ticket, kind of offer. That's what I'm offering. And so I want to focus everything I do around that. And if I do offer anything, it's a value stack in that stack, right? So the one-on-one coaching for people who want to try it out, they just want to, test it out. Maybe they want to hop in with some kind of cohort. Okay, maybe they want high ticket one-on-one. It's a value stack along those lines. So what happens a lot of times is owners go, well, I could do roofs, I could do new homes, I could do construction, I could do remodeling, I could do maybe HVAC, I could do plumbing, I could do all this stuff. And now I become the go-to person in my town, county, wherever you're at, about how to do new or renovations in this area. The problem becomes is people don't think of you at first as the person for this task. Like, oh, well, I hired a roofer because I forgot. I thought you guys did remodeling. You lost out. Or I hired you for a roof and, I need to remodel. And so leveraging being the best at one thing is so much more effective than leveraging I can do a bunch of stuff. And if we're being honest, you can do a bunch of stuff. I can do a bunch of stuff. We all can do a bunch of stuff. The problem is you become forgettable in customers' minds as they think of all the things that you offer and try to remember that instead of being the person that they go to for this issue. And again, you can scale your offerings along that so that you can make more money per customer, but it's all in that same vein. And so you think about it like this: are you a buffet to where people can come in and order? Maybe they want Mexican food, maybe they want American food, maybe they want Chinese food. You have kind of a buffet, like it's just all over the map, and those are good, those are fun. But if you want a good Mexican meal or a good Chinese meal or a good burger or whatever, you're probably gonna go to the best place in town that has that specific offering, right? So you go to the best Mexican restaurant instead of the buffet. If you're craving Mexican, you're probably gonna pick the top-rated Mexican store in your county, your town, wherever. Same thing for business owners that aren't in the restaurant space. Is that if you offer a one-time thing, a one-off thing, whether that's a SaaS model, it's whatever it is, you're known for that. Now, think about some big companies. Okay, big companies like Nike, they have shoes, they have clothes, they have hats, they have maybe sunglasses. I think they do. And so they're so big that they can test these different markets and they can try to figure out what's going to work for them. They can work out sponsor deals with athletes. And so all of a sudden they can pull levers that you and I can't pull. They can put themselves into rooms that's harder for us to pull. We want our customers to think about us for one thing. And then if we get to a certain size, then maybe we add a second thing in, maybe add a third thing in. But at first, one thing. I know several business owners who are doing huge numbers. And I say huge, huge for most small business owners because they focus on one thing and they're great at one thing. And so they're probably at the spot now that they could offer a second or third thing if they need to, but they like that one thing and they are really, 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 really doing good at that. And so don't get caught up in chasing the shiny objects. Okay, some stats around this that I want you to consider. So we know that 50% of companies fail within the first 5 years and 70% after 10 years. And this is due to scaling challenges. And what can happen is they go in there and go, um, yeah, I want to scale really fast. Well, okay, I get that. Everyone wants to scale. There's the question of what are you trying to scale for? So if you want to own the best business in your sector, then it's a little bit overstated, right? Because in your sector is a very big sector, and you're competing with companies that you don't really have a shot to take down. So if you want to be a shoe company, you're not taking down Nike, but the total addressable market for shoes is so large that you could go out and carve out some of Nike's market share, and then you have a nice little business. And I say little because you're not Nike. It's not anything wrong with that. I have a little business too. Um, so if 50% are failing in 5 years and 70% after 10 years, a lot of that becomes because they make it so complex. So think about it like this. Right now in your business, you probably, hopefully, understand the problems that your customers are facing, how to solve them, and the more you do that, the easier it gets, right? The more you solve these issues, the easier it becomes for you to be the person to solve their problems. You adopt a new market, now those are new problems, slightly different requests, different time frames in which they're getting back to you on, all that kind of stuff. And so now you've got to learn that skill set. And so what's going to happen to a lot of owners is they're trying to scale up to this certain level, not realizing that they can solve the current level of problems that they have right now. So the question that you need to ask yourself is pretty simple. How much money do I need to live on a year to be happy? to invest, to be content. Once I hit that number, then how do I build out a team around me so that I don't have to be in the day to day every day? And so once you get to that level, so let's say for math purposes, you need to be doing 7 million a year. So you're doing 7 million a year, and that gets you to your net number of, I don't know, we'll say 10%, so $700,000. And off of $700,000 a year, which is a ton of money for most owners, you can live off that. You can invest. You can have a nice living. No worries. So now your question really is, do I really want to go learn something new, potentially risk this $7 million thing over here, and then add on this new thing, and then now I have to make sure that that new thing brings in another 7 million, another 3 million, 20 million. What does it have to bring to you to make sure it's actually worth the time? I had a call with a guy the other day, and he had a good business, and he was tapping into a new market stream. And so the question was simple: what does the MRR need to get to in this new business for you to think it's worth your time? It's pretty simple. And so just make up some numbers. If it's 30K, if it's 100K, whatever it is, pick that number. Now, is that time period that's going to take you to get there worth it? So if it's 3 months, it's 100K, then yeah, probably is. If it's 100K and it's 3 years, maybe not. Maybe you should focus on just doubling down on what you're really good at, because he was really good at his core business. That's the kind of questions you should be asking yourself: is before you add a second offer, before you expand, is it worth the time, energy, and effort to get to where you want to be, to make sure that you, when you get there, are content with what you need to do? If you're doing 7 million a year and you're going to add a second line of business, how long is it going to take you to get it to where it needs to be to make you happy with it? And are you willing to sacrifice that extra time, that commitment to do that? And for a lot of owners, I think they say it is, but they don't really think about, oh man, I got to have a team, I got to have a sales strategy, a marketing funnel, I got to have all this stuff in place, and then I got to have the new employees and all the headaches that comes along with scaling a business. I've got to have all that, and it might take me 5 years to hit this goal. And in 5 years, I'm doing another 7 million, so I'm doing 14 million now. And what do I have? I have 1.4 million of profit. We'll say you 10% margin again, so you got 1.4 million in profit. It took you 7 years to get that. Well, is there a way for your core business right now to take that 7 million to improve your margins and to get to like 8 or 10? Can you just go from 10% margin to 15% margin and then get it up to 10? Is that possible? It's probably easier than adding that second line of business on. And so those are the questions that you need to be asking before you think about adding a second line of business. Is the juice worth the squeeze? It needs to be at this much revenue and this much profit, and how long do I think it's going to take? And can I sustain what I'm doing during this period? So if you're going, well, I want to add the second line of business, then if it's not going to do you another 7 million, then why are you doing it? If it's going to add you another million with a 20% profit margin, okay, cool. You could have probably just focused on adding an upsell, a warranty package or something like that to your current business to make those numbers. You probably could have done that a lot easier, and your staff's a lot better trained for that. So those are the questions. Before you add multiple offers, think through that. And if you got questions, you can figure out how to work with me below. And with that, let's talk to you tomorrow.